Hi kids, welcome to this week's video. It's going to be quite a long one. This will be part one and part two will soon follow. But as the title suggests, Dalek Day. What is Dalek Day? Well, a friend of mine who runs Dalek Decimus, who looks like that, he owns and operates Dalek Decimus, and he decided, why don't some of us get together and have Dalek Day? There was only one Dalek there. Well, 1.5 Daleks, as you'll see. But we were joined by Philip Roy, who's currently playing the Doctor in his own feature-length fan film, Doctor Who and the Scorpion. Check back on my channel for a really nice two-part interview that I did with him recently, all about the film. And we just sort of hung out for the day, and we got to talk about Daleks. And who doesn't like a chat about Daleks? It's a good chance to see what it's like to own a Dalek. Anyway, here come the interviews, and I'll see you at the end. This is Rudry Parish Hall, hidden away in the beautiful countryside of Caerphilly, and it's a really nicely done out hall. It's very old. It's about, I think it's over 100 years old, but it's been modernized, really nicely equipped and set up, and it's for hire for weddings and all kinds of events which they have on a regular basis. So as you can see on the inside, really, really nice. And there's a stage area, which is where we decided to set everything up. Here is Philip and Nick. Nick doing all the camera work, so thanks to Nick for the footage. And we got the sofa that was on the stage, put a backdrop behind it thanks to Decimus and Roboman, and some of the props from Phil's film that Phil made, the control panels and lighting and stuff like that. So that's our stage and that's our set. Right, I'm here with Ben Delabane, who's the owner and operator of Dalek Decimus, the very impressive black and gold one that we've seen all over South Wales, basically. So, first thing I want to ask you, Ben, is why Daleks? Why the excitement, or why the fandom about Daleks?
Well, it started many years ago, back in the 80s. I didn't really grow up. My family didn't really watch Doctor Who, and I remember watching it hiding behind the sofa when I was real young, as most kids did probably. But then back in the early 90s, when it had been off air for about 3-4 years, my friend used to come around on a Sunday afternoon, and we used to watch like the early ones, the black and white ones, and I couldn't get into it. I really struggled because it was black and white, and it wasn't coloured, and
I get that.
Yeah, I wasn't. I couldn't get into it. So I asked my parents if they could get me some videos, and I thought if I tried watching it, I might get into it more. And they mistakenly got me the Peter Cushing movies.
Right.
And after seeing grey, dull Daleks, I was suddenly seeing these massive, colourful, bright.
Yeah.
And I loved everything about it, you know, everything about those Daleks. But I didn't know they weren't part of. I didn't realise there was a series of movies. I just thought they were all part of the same. Mm. And I got really into it. I started getting the Dalek Chronicles magazine.
Yeah.
I got a copy of Doctor Who magazine, and I decided I wanted a full scale one.
Right.
And me and my late father then started building one.
Okay.
It was using. I actually acquired one of the Comet miniatures models.
Okay.
The models about this big.
And you had to scale it up.
My dad was a planner, and so he scaled it up. And we actually built about halfway, so we actually got like a Davros chair equivalent.
Right.
It was made of MDF.
Yeah.
But then years later, I found out those Comet models aren't actually accurate anyway.
Right.
But considering there's no resources like Project Dalek or anything like that in the mid 90s, this would have been sort of 94, 95. It wasn't bad, you know, because there wasn't resources like now, no internet.
So do you recall the first time you ever saw a real Dalek prop in real life, and where was that?
Yeah, we went in Bristol, where we were living at the time I grew up. They had, next to Temple Meads, there was this place called the Exploratory.
Right.
And they had like a travelling, I can only describe it as a Doctor Who experience. and they had several Daleks there. I think many of the props there and eventually ended up being in the Cardiff exhibition.
Right. So what type of Dalek was it? Was it a 2005?
Oh, no, it would have been the original ones.
Okay.
And they had one of the ones where its back had been cut open, so you could go
Yes.
inside.
Yes.
And that was when I first physically saw them.
Okay.
But then I went to Longleat, and they had the exhibition there.
Yeah.
This was 93, I think. But, I mean, when I liked Daleks, it was... it's sort of like it'd been off air for 4 or 5 years, and it wasn't popular, so it was very hard to find anything Dalek related at that time.
Yeah.
So we started, we got as far as the sort of midsection, and then I didn't do well. My condition of my dad doing it was I do art school, and I didn't do well in that particular subject as me.
Yeah.
And because of that, it got retired to the shed.
Okay.
And I eventually got bored of it and moved on to other things.
So I guess it got scrapped at that point.
Yeah. I've actually in my stepmother's house, I actually found the original plunger I bought at the time, which we bought in the 90s from B&Q. But even 90s plungers, which are bigger than the ones now, still too small, wouldn't have been accurate.
Right. Okay.
So I found that, and I was actually tempted to bring it home as like a
little souvenir
yes.
from your childhood.
How it
kind
started,
of thing.
yeah.
Wow.
But we did actually make contact with a chap called Julian Vince, and he was going to make things like the dome and stuff because my dad didn't know how to do that. But as I said, it was never completed, got binned. I moved on to other things.
Yeah.
And I think it was when it came back in the new series. I think 2006 Christmas, I bought myself a radio control Dalek sec.
Yeah.
As a little present, to myself. But we never actually watched the new series. We never got into it when it was on.
In order to get your own Dalek, you've got a choice of buying one that's been made by someone else or making your own. And each one has got its pros and cons because, as you know, Daleks are made of everything, every type of material, every type of process, and you've got to be pretty skilled to make one.
Oh, yeah.
So when you got Decimus, where did you get him from, and how long did that take to get to you and things like that?
Well, I initially I looked at Project Dalek to actually join that about 12 years ago, and then forgot about it. But I did look at doing that. But I'm a bit of a professional procrastinator. Don't have the space, probably don't have the skill, the patience to ever built one. I just would never have done it. Yeah. So I then looked at buying one, and I think I tried this Planet Earth, but I wasn't. From what I heard, they didn't encourage you to get in them.
Right.
To drive them around, and that's part of the idea to go inside and drive them.
Yeah, if you're going to have one, you got to get inside.
Yeah, absolutely, yes. Well, I wanted one which I could get in. It would be quite robust, because I wanted to take it to Comic Cons, mostly because they're the only place you can comfortably drive them. Yeah. I don't like going on my road because it's very potholed. And at least with conventions, they're in a relatively controlled environment.
Yeah, and I think people understand that a Dalek can be damaged, but also it can damage people. So people are more aware of these things moving around.
Oh yeah. I mean,
did Decimus have a long trip to get to wherever he was made to you?
It was when I asked for him to be built. It took about 3 months, and the chap who built him only lived in Gloucester, I think it was. Okay. So,
What was it like the day it was finally yours and it came out the back of the van or whatever?
Oh,
it Christmas.
Was. Yes, it was an evening in I think August, September. I think it was, and it was about 8 o'clock. And my children were just about to go to bed, and we put them together, and they were blown away by it, and. Yeah, it was
because this is a big thing, right? I mean, in both terms of size and the impact, and it's like having a new person move into your house. Because this Dalek is not something you flat pack and put in a suitcase. This is always present. Where does Decimus live now in your house?
Well, since I got Decimus, about 2 years later, I ended up getting another one I've called Dalek Vex, but he's not motorised yet. They both live in what would be my dining room. Because I do have a garage, but I've still got bugs and stuff. When we bought the house, we haven't really cleaned it that much in the garage yet.
Yeah, I guess you got to worry about things like damp and temperatures.
Yes,
and
yeah,
that
exactly. So I put them in what would be our dining room.
So before we talk about operating a Dalek, tell me about the names, because you got Decimus for the black one and then Vex for your other one. Did you come up with those names?
Yes, basically I found that everyone had a name to distinguish themselves. You know, some have numbers, some have names like Dalek Dave, Dalek Fred, Dalek Dolly. You know, some which they probably see as silly and fun and that. I wanted to be sort of a bit more, not too serious, but Dalek-y, you know.
Something that feels a bit more...
Yes, yeah. I mean, in the movie, who he's based off the Black Supreme in the first Peter Cushing movie, he tried to decimate the planet. So I thought decimate Decimus. So
I quite like that Decimus sounds Latin, like Roman.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
Dalek
yeah.
Empire, and also Vex is another one. That it feels like the names that Terry Nation would have given them in the comic strips, because they had names.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
like Dalek Vec and Dalek Zen and all these kinds.
That's
of
right. Yeah,
names.
yeah.
So with Vex, we haven't seen him out and about, kind of thing. So you've
No.
got plans with him?
I do tend to motorise him at some point. Yes, it's just getting around to it. I mean, he has been out. He was in the briefly in Scorpion movie, Doctor Who in the Scorpion movie. He was at a Comic Con, was actually an outside Comic Con. They had a series of tents. It was in Kent, somewhere, Birkenhead, is it? I can't remember, Birchingham, somewhere like that.
Yeah.
And I took him because they didn't want it to be. It was all grass. I wasn't going to be able to. Decimus probably can go on grass, but I didn't want to risk it.
So Vex is more of a static.
I just took him because
he's got wheels on him, right?
He's got wheels, but he's not too stable at the moment because they're only temporary wheels, so you can't really sit in comfortably without fear of it all giving way.
Yeah.
But I took him briefly to that Comic Con because it only takes a few minutes to set up. You know.
Right. So as far as setting up and operating, I mean, can you remember the first event you did where you actually had to climb in and drive Decimus around?
Yes, it was one. It was about. It was a tank museum in Bovington with Charity Dalek Squad. About when was that? About 2018. I think I got them in 2017. So I think it's 2018. And I mean the electrics were because the chap who built him, the electrics wasn't his main specialty, but he got it working, so he could do the voice and everything. But there was sort of cables everywhere, so I kept pulling them out and that because you just couldn't. There's limited space in the Dalek anyway, but when there's all cables around you, it's even worse. And the seat was too high, and I was sort of like this inside, and it wasn't very enjoyable, and it was very awkward using your feet because it's easy going backwards because of where your feet are.
The way you push.
But in front, trying to,
You've got to edge yourself forward.
Yeah, but someone later suggested a seatbelt, which I didn't think of at the time.
I've heard that some of the Daleks in the classic series, the guys had to strap themselves in to pull themselves forward.
Yes, they also had little bikes in there as well, and I think they even had like wheelbarrow wheels in one of the later series. But I always thought motorization was the better way to do it.
I think now it's possible. It's definitely doable. So when you're inside the Dalek, you've got so many things to control and move and everything else. And what's your vision like? And how do you turn the head? How do you move everything else?
Well, I try and imagine it like you're a puppeteer.
Yeah.
And I try not to do too much at once. So, for example, if I'm driving, I have my hand on the joystick with my left hand. I'm a bit ambidextrous, and then I'll have the head stick with my right. And I'll do them together because your main focal point is the eye.
Yeah.
That's your character. So you've got to. That's where people are looking.
Yeah.
So you don't need to worry about the arms so much. So I tend to focus on the driving and the eye when I'm round, and then only when I'm stationary do I bother with the guns. To make it a bit simpler.
Yeah.
To do. Not if you try and do too much, you're just all over the place.
I can imagine. So what's your vision like inside the Dalek?
Quite poor, especially in the dark. If it's a very dark area.
Right.
We went to one Comic Con for the love of sci-fi, and it was quite dark, and we couldn't see very well in there.
I guess once you're inside, you've got a certain amount of vision through the neck, but then you can't really see where your skirt and the rest of the Dalek is. So.
Well, no, and the movies have got big bases as well. You can't actually see anything below here.
Yeah.
Plus, I have a speaker box here and here.
Gotcha.
So you can see underneath it, but you can't see there. So that's
Yeah, so
sort
you've
of,
got some certain number of blind spots.
yeah, and it's you got the mesh.
Yeah.
And then I've also got some material.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to you can see people, but you can't see their expressions. So you
Gotcha.
can't
So
tell if
it's
someone's
quite fuzzy.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, when I did the thing in London, we had one of the well-known celebrities stood next to us, and I didn't realise at the time because
Yeah.
I couldn't see who it was. And then the next day I saw who it was. I was like, damn, I didn't know it was her. But
Yeah.
just saw this tall woman stood there.
Well, talking of celebrities, you basically worked with our friend Philip Roy on his film Doctor
that's
Who
right,
Meets
yes.
the Scorpion. So how did you get into that? Because that's a mixture of Dalek operating, puppeteering, and acting. So how did you get in contact with Phil and get into the film?
Well, I arranged what we call Dalek invasions, when you
Yeah.
just go out with a group of Daleks, because it's boring on your own.
Yeah.
You can only do so much on your own. But I arranged it to go out in Cardiff Bay.
Right.
And unfortunately, I was ill when we were supposed to do it, so I couldn't go. But everyone else went, and I believe Philip contacted, I think it was Ben John.
Yeah.
And then I started speaking to Phil, and it went from then, really. And, when he said he was on about making a film.
Yeah.
And I must admit, when I got Decimus, I always wanted to do a fan film, because
Yeah.
there was this one done about 20 years ago in London. They use movie Daleks for most of
Okay.
it, and it's almost like a homage to the second Peter Cushing movie.
Gotcha.
It's on YouTube, but it's still there. It's about 10 minutes long.
Yeah.
But it's very well done, and I always wanted to do one, so I jumped at the opportunity.
Did you have to learn lines, or did you just sort of do it line by line?
Most line by line. Yeah, there was a few lines, and it wasn't too complicated. It was just trying to remember them whilst also moving.
Yeah, again, because it's like I don't drive, but I imagine it's like driving a car. You've got to keep an eye on what the puppet is actually doing while you're voicing it.
Yeah, you've got to make sure your eye is in the right position where they want it and things like that, and you're trying to make sure you do that right, but you're also trying to remember your lines at the same time, so yeah.
Now, there's a thing that some people might not be aware of, is that people outside of the BBC who have Daleks, they have a built-in voice kit, something
Yeah.
that does the sound effect, the voice comes from the Dalek, and it controls the lights that flash on the head. So you've got to do some voice acting at the same time. So how did you find that to begin with? Was it daunting? Was it scary or difficult? And have you got better at it?
Well, it's what I've got. There's two people who do devices. One's a mod by a chap called Vince, and very good piece of equipment, very good customer service.
Yeah.
It's a lifetime warranty.
And we'll take a look at it, because that is it's basically a self-contained unit.
Yeah.
You have a microphone, but it also controls the flashing lights.
That's right, yeah. And mine's been a bit customised for a movie as well.
Okay.
So it's got a reverb, which most of them don't.
I
Because
see.
the movie Daleks have got slightly different voice.
Yeah, you can hear a bit of an echo on the voices.
Yeah,
kind of
so
thing.
mine's got that.
Was it a bit daunting to try and learn how to speak like a Dalek?
Well, what you've got to do, you can't just speak normally. You've got to sound like, I will kill you,
Yeah, you've really got to give it some
Yes.
energy, kind of thing.
Yeah, and you've got to break your words up as well. So,
Yeah.
right, you can't just speak, because
Just
it
talk normally, and because it only does, the voice only goes so far, the effect only goes so far.
Yes.
But are you more comfortable with doing the Dalek voice now?
I am. I mean, one of the things when I got mine is like I have to wear like a mask to keep the microphone close enough to my mouth, because
Gotcha.
otherwise it wanders off.
It moves away.
Yeah, so I got to have it like right here.
Yeah.
And there's always, because my Dalek has to come apart in pieces for transport, and it connects together again, but there's also chances of a bit of a connection playing up or something, so you've got to check them, because it's so easy to get feedback and things,
Yeah. So just before we finish, now, obviously you've done the Doctor Who Meets the Scorpion film, and you've got 2 Daleks in that. What does the future hold for you with Daleks? Because you've got 2. Are you going to stop at 2? Do you want a third one? What do you want to do in future?
I want to get Dalek Vex operational, which I'm going to start doing probably in bits, myself. It's just getting around to that because I've got so many other things to do as well. So I want to get Dalek back up and operational, just to give some of the. It's like when you only have one Dalek, it's a lot of wear and tear.
Yeah.
But if you've got 2 or 3,
I guess you can repair one while the other's
exactly,
out on the road.
Yeah, and reduce the wear. But I would like to get the red one from the first movie as well.
Excellent.
That's what I'd like.
That's the red and gold. That's the kind of the boss. So you have the Trinity from the
exactly, yeah,
movies.
yeah. And I've got 3 children, so I would like to give them as a heirloom. One
True,
each,
yeah. That's a really nice thing. Who knows what modern kids would think of being left a Dalek? But had someone left me a Dalek as a child, I think that would have been great. So, very last question: which of the Peter Cushing movies is your favourite?
I like them both, but I probably like. I mean, sometimes I wish I got one from the second film because they have more of a flexible fender. They use fabric rather than solid fiberglass.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It would give you more sort of give, especially taking it out and that.
Okay.
But I prefer the
First
colour
one.
schemes of the first one. But if you did the colour schemes in the first one but applied them, it wouldn't look quite right. I'd know it wouldn't be right.
Yeah.
So I would say the first one.
So ideally, the first one with the it's Doctor Who and the Daleks, and it's set on Skaro.
That's right. Yeah.
You've got a lot more colour, which is what they went for. That was the big selling point, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I've always loved the whole colours. It's got very sort of Captain Scarlet Thunderbirds type.
It has.
It's like the 60s interpretation of what the future should look like.
Should be colourful.
Yes. And I think I've always loved that sort of thing about it.
Awesome. Brilliant. So that's a bit of an insight into what it's like to be a Dalek owner and operator. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. And it was probably a bit long, but there's some interesting stuff about Daleks. I could probably do a Dalek day every month and I wouldn't get tired of it. That, of course, was part 1. Part 2 will follow as soon as I can get it edited. Well, I've seen a chunk of it, and it is very, very good.
Yeah, and I've watched it, because I have to watch it for different editors, but I watch it for pleasure, and I've probably seen it about 100 times, and I at no point go, oh, I'm bored of this now. Okay. I still, even when I think I should be going to sleep now, I've got work in the morning. I still got to go to the end.
I've done that with my film. As awful as my film is, you still you watch it more than anyone else. Anyway. I've had quite a few subscribers join up. We're sort of teetering around the 800 mark. We did get to 800, then it dropped down 1, and it went up 1, down 1. So it's algorithms messing with me a little bit. But if you are one of the 40% of people who watch my videos on a regular basis and don't subscribe, just hit the subscribe button. It really helps me out. It doesn't cost you a penny. Anyway, that all said, I'll see you next time. Take care now. Bye-bye then.